Oh, she looked guilty AF. She looked guilty AF. Just looked. I'm not saying anything, but she looked guilty. This video right here is from May 5th. These are the House of Democrats, and they're requesting specific documents from Ilhan Omar to prove that there was actually no connection between Ilhan's office and the fraudsters. Have a look.
No, we have reached out to Representative Ilhan Omar on multiple occasions, inviting her to testify and inviting and requesting documents that appeared in the trial exhibit of the U.S. versus Amy Bach. Her office or her staff was named in multiple trial exhibits, and we have endeavored in multiple ways to get access to that because, as everyone knows, Representative Omar had some role, whether inadvertent or not. She passed the Meals Act in March of 2020, and that took the guardrails off the federal school nutrition program, which created the conditions for Feeding Our Future. And so we invited her to testify about the law she passed. We invited her to testify and talk about the documents that are listed in the court case, and she has never responded to our multiple inquiries. So then we sent a letter after the hearing 2 weeks ago saying that we would like her to respond with those court exhibits by today, May 5th. Once again, she has not responded in any way to our inquiries. And so the only tool left for us as a committee, if we want to get these documents, is to issue a subpoena. We have never done this, members, in the history of this committee. We have never done this in the history of this body except for ethics investigations. And I don't do it lightly. But Representative Omar is a public servant. She had a direct involvement in creating the conditions for Feeding Our Future. And as a representative of Minnesota, I believe it's important for the taxpayers to understand the role she played and understand the role her office played in communicating with the defendants in this case.
Listen, if you're truly not guilty or truly not connected to this scam, this huge scam, then what is the issue with providing the right documents and pieces of evidence to help us determine whether you have a connection or not have a connection? The fact that you failed to respond or provide any evidence just makes it 10 times more suspicious.
Fox News alert: Ilhan Omar missed Tuesday's deadline for Minnesota Republicans to turn over documents in the Minnesota Feeding Our Futures fraud scandal. Democrats blocked an effort to subpoena the Congresswoman, all as we learned that Omar's name came up 6 times in the case against Amy Bach, the founder of Feeding Our Future. Now, Bach spearheaded the scheme, which stole federal funds intended for children and was convicted of wire fraud, conspiracy, and bribery. Ilhan Omar's name first came up in an email chain with Bach back in February 2021. The subject line read, "Help with USDA food program," in a message to Omar's office. Now, about 2 weeks later, Bach emailed Omar's office with the subject line, "FNS approves Minnesota school PEBT plan." Then 1 day later, Bach exchanged messages with this Feeding Our Future employee who fled the country after he was indicted in 2022. The subject line of their emails was Ilhan's office, and the emails kept flowing after that. In March, Bach emailed Omar's office again about the state's school food program. There were also text messages between Bach and Omar's office, which was uncovered during a raid of Bach's Minnesota house. Now, while we know Omar's office was communicating with a now convicted fraudster, we don't know the contents of those messages or if Omar herself engaged in any wrongdoing. In a jailhouse interview with Fox, this is how Bach described those conversations.
Did you have any conversations with Ilhan Omar that make you kind of think twice now?
I've never actually spoken to her. I had spoken to members of her office. It was always really general, mostly pertaining to how the Department of Education was handling applications and the approval or denial of those. There was nothing of any substance pertaining to claims or meal counts or fraud or anything like that.
But Omar Omar's ties to Feeding Our Future don't start and end with Amy Bach. She also had close ties with one of the restaurants convicted of stealing $16 million, Safari Restaurant. Back in 2018, she celebrated her primary win at the very spot. And records show she spent nearly $10,000 in campaign funds there between 2018 and 2020. It's over $3,000 a year. The food must be so great to spend that much at a restaurant. And check this out. We unearthed this 2020 video of Ilhan Omar on Somali TV working inside Safari Restaurant. And while she speaks exclusively in Somalian, we were able to make out these words: pandemic, Meals Act, and Safari Restaurant. The chair of the Minnesota Fraud Committee also revealing Ilhan Omar received donations from several Feeding Our Future defendants. And that last name on the list right there, that's a former staffer for Omar who pled guilty to fraud.
Oh my God, it keeps getting worse for Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. If she allegedly had ties with previous scandals, that means she probably has some with current scandals, allegedly. Ilhan Omar was also approached by this individual. Let's see what she did.
Tell us about your net worth dropping down to about 100,000.
I mean, the whole thing.
Could you just elaborate on what mistake was made, Congresswoman? What mistake was made on your financial disclosure forms to bring it down to 100,000 from up to 30 million? Just want to give you a chance to clear it up because people are wondering why it dropped so far down. Does your husband still have the consulting business worth about $8 million?
We do not blame the lawlessness of an individual on a whole community. What we also know is that there is not a single evidence that the president or his coonies have put forth that there are any single resource from taxpayers in Minnesota that has gone to aid and abet terrorism. That language is dangerous. That language puts the lives of Somalis not only in Minnesota, but across the country in danger. And if the president believed that and he had evidence, he would take people to court. So we are sick and tired of the president waking up one day and deciding to put forth falsehoods and demonize whole communities while the ignorant people that support him then take the lies that he's spreading and use it as a fact. We've seen it during the campaign where he said Asians were eating cats and dogs. We've seen his vice president repeat those lies. We've seen the media run it as a headline as if it was a fact. That is shameful. That is shameful. That is ignorant. It makes us look like a stupid nation that does not believe in truth but traffics in lies. It makes the world mock us, and we are better than that. We are better than that as Americans.